Hello, dear friends. Poetry is a weapon loaded with future, and current events are a weapon loaded with very interesting news, the summary of which costs many hours of work. Opinion piece: Lightness of being and matrix heaviness. Change is coming. Opposite concepts. Absence of pattern. Milan Kundera knew it. Lightness versus gravity. Bearable or unbearable. New group of red hats. Some target different strategy. Bank of America warns of a bubble. Iran threatens to close the Strait of Hormuz. The largest bank in the US set off alarm bells. Let's start. The lightness of being and the heaviness of the world represent two opposing perspectives on life and human existence, where the choice between lightness and gravity influences the form in which each human being faces his reality and his relationship with the world around him. I love the subtle, weightless, and gentle welts, as Antonio Machado said. In Machado's poem, lightness is associated with subtlety, weightlessness, and gentleness, suggesting a poetic view of the world that values beauty and lightness over heaviness and gravity. This vision aligns with the idea that poetry allows the creation of possible worlds and the transformation of the reader. Lightness and gravity are presented as complementary concepts, where lightness is associated with beauty and gravity is associated with understanding the world around us. Machado's poetry reflects this poetic vision of the world, in which lightness and subtlety are valued over heaviness and gravity. Understanding the world involves both an understanding of the macrocosmos and the microcosmos, and the creative process is a way of responding to the need to understand the world around us. In this context, lightness and gravity are presented as complementary concepts, where gravity contains the secret of lightness, and lightness is a way of responding to the gravity of the real. Unbearable. The lightness of being and the heaviness of the world is a central theme in Milan Kundera's The Unbearable Lightness of Being. He explores the dichotomy between lightness and heaviness as concepts that analyze and understand human existence. According to Kundera, each individual decides whether he wants to have his feet on the ground or float among the gases of history, reflecting the choice between the lightness of living without ties or the burden of responsibility and the gravity of existence. This duality manifests itself in the way human beings face life. Some see it as a light game, while others perceive it as something serious and heavy, reflecting different approaches towards the transcendent and importance of actions in the world. The lightness of being refers to the idea of lack of weight or existential burden in human life. It contrasts to the notion of weight, which symbolizes the real. Lightness represents the absence of burden, freedom, but also insignificance. Kundera explores how lightness implies a lack of commitment, a sense of ephemerality, and the inability to give deep meaning to existence. The unbearable lightness of being is a concept that refers to the idea of lightness, the lack of weight or existential burden in human life. The lightness of being raises the question of whether human life, lacking a significant burden, constantly seeks something that gives meaning and density in the face of the duality between lightness and weight in the human experience. Economy. A monetary reset is underway, according to John Butler, investment director of South Bank Research. The Mexican peso rises while the dollar falls, thanks to the electoral fever that is injecting a dose of optimism into the market. Inflation in Argentina has dropped for 3 months and amounts to 287.9% year on year. Sweden abandons the 2030 agenda and the non-asset-backed financial system. The Bank of America warns of a bubble. The current market movement is typical of a bubble. Bank of America warns of a copper supply crisis. The demand for copper exceeds the supply, says Theo Deche, director of Mundoro Capital. Inflation soars in Turkey. Russian banks will exceed 2023 profit levels this year. Iran threatens to close the Strait of Hormuz to collapse the system. This would close 30% of the world's oil supply, which could multiply its price tenfold, and would collapse the global financial system. According to David Lifschultz, Iran ordered the cessation of all air traffic starting Thursday, April 11th. The banking elite is preparing for an international crisis, according to Stephen Van Meter. Morgan Stanley's warning has caused waves of uncertainty in the markets, urges investors to prepare for a period of unpredictability. The largest bank in the US sounds the alarm. Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan Chase, warns of higher and prolonged inflation, an uncertain growth outlook, and increasing political division. Dr. Henry Kaufman believes that the world's banking systems would have to be nationalized to avoid the destruction of the payment system, but this would not prevent the crisis. According to Judy Bington, when the QFS comes into action, it will put an end to the debt-perpetuating central banking system, as all fractional reserve banking activities will cease. Donald Trump wants to align his country with the BRICS group. There will be bilateral agreements when the BRICS nations become strong enough to have greater trade influence than the West. The BRICS alliance is set to reshape the global financial landscape by prioritizing commodities over traditional financial assets. On April 8, 2024, the CHIPS network migrated to the ISO 20022 messaging system. This allows currency exchange to be negotiated in the new digital banking system. The Fed considers abandoning fiat currency for gold. A report indicates that with the gold standard, we would see a more stable economy with fewer sudden rises or falls in prices. China has purchased more gold than any other nation since 2020, with India in second place. China will launch a new currency exchange program with developing countries. Forget the archaic SWIFT system and its reliance on fiat currencies. The future belongs to the decentralized networks and peer-to-peer transactions, says Media Greer. In her opinion, we are at the dawn of a new era that promises to revolutionize the global financial landscape. But the powers that be will stop at nothing to maintain their control of power. It's time to trust the plan, embrace change, secure our financial future, and usher in a new era of prosperity for all. According to Kim.com, we are getting closer to the main event. Gold rose 30% in 6 months. The only thing left is to print money. Tokenized assets and gold and silver trading are beginning to accelerate. We have a silver shortage that continues to increase. The World Bank classifies Ripple's XRP and Stellar's XLM as stablecoins for cross-border payments. Last week, the Bank for International Settlements launched the Agora project, together with 7 central banks, which will focus on the tokenization of central bank money or programmable platforms. The race towards international payments has begun. Message from Sam Oliver on gold. As central banks intervene to buy gold, when the retail market cannot do so, it will be a sign that currency have bottomed, allowing them to use gold as a standard for the currency market to reach real values again. This is the global financial reset. Rumors. According to Thomas Smith, there is a talk of a new group called Red Hats, with the same end result as the White Hats, world peace, but with a different plan of action. According to Starship Earth, it's a phenomenal time to witness the greatest show on Earth. The storm is wreaking havoc like a wrecking ball on all the DAX control system. According to Benjamin Fulford, while the Arctic is under the coalition, there is a secret conflict in Antarctica where the good guys are winning. But this is far from over, and the storm is brewing according to sources. There is a warming video on Alterna News about 20-foot waves moving north from Antarctica. Did a big chunk of ice fall during the eclipse? California is on alert as the San Andreas Fault prepares for an earthquake. Dystopia. Digital ID is being applied globally, from Europe to Ethiopia and Australia. Australian banks deny their customers cash withdrawals. How can you go to a bank and not take your money out? Not take out your money? Bank deposits continue to decline for the 10th consecutive week, according to the Fed. According to Alex Barnicoat, most people don't really understand the banking system. If they understood it, there would be a revolution. Your money is not real. It is worthless numbers on a screen. According to the X22 report, Davos tries to block the sun using salt crystals. The forum orders shooting into the atmosphere to block the sun and combat the light. Brazil blocks Twitter and threatens to further censor social networks. In Germany, they want to introduce the crime of criticizing the state. In other words, they want to punish thought crimes. Elon Musk describes that artificial intelligence drones could punish dissidents. Since when has it been a crime to think? And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.